Hello again. It's me, again, Tracy. So this is going to be your syllabus screencast where I'm just going to go over some major points that I want to make. It may take me a little bit because I tend to want to make a lot of them, but I do want you to thoroughly read your syllabus. Like, I would say 90% of the questions I get about an assignment or something in the class is actually in the syllabus. So always use it as your first go-to for any questions that you have about class. And if you still can't find the answer, you're still not sure, do not hesitate to ask me for clarification. I'm always continually evolving the syllabus to make sure that I cover everything that students need. So, but always go to it. The syllabus is so long because I do include a page or more for every major assignment that you have. So be sure to look it through and use it. So I'm going to put myself in the corner once again. And here we go. So the beginning of the syllabus is what is going to be seen in almost any syllabus from campus, much that we're required to share, and that is also good information. So how to contact me through D2L internal messaging. Obviously, I'm assuming you know how to use D2L since you're taking an online class, so just contact me at any time. You can also email me at tracy.carryon@frontrange.edu, but not for your D2L email. There is an Office 365 widget now on the home page, and it'll give you direct access for your FRCC student email, and that's where most of your official from the college type emails will come from, so you do need to check it, but you can email me only to that tracy.carryon from that email. So please be sure to check your email and your D2L email regularly. Also to please check, well, I mean, you're taking an online course, so of course you will, but I leave a lot of notes on the front page of D2L for the class. So check those regularly in case I've told the class something and you need to see it. Class website, technical help, disability support services, please be in touch with them. Read this if you need to. Academic advising, writing and academic skills. There is an online writing lab, and I do give extra credit for using the writing lab. You just have to send me kind of proof from them that you've used them for any paper that you write, and I give extra credit for doing that. All students taking, you have to do the orientation to online learning, can't record classes without permission from everybody. So all of these things, we've already passed the drop for non-payment, so that really shouldn't affect any of you at this point. But you can be dropped for non-attendance, and so you will have to do your first discussion question in order not to be dropped for non-attendance. You need to do that on time. We'll get there. I am a mandatory report. Oh, if you have any complaints or issues, I really hope you will speak to me, that you will email me, that speak to me directly. I am very approachable, very willing to work with you. If you don't feel that you can for some reason, you can always get in touch with my bosses, Jessica Mahoney or Corey Reinke. I am a mandatory reporter. This is a psychology class, so that actually comes in. And, you know, information can be shared, but I do want you to be aware that I'm a mandatory reporter, meaning that if there is anything that is shared with me that shows that you could be in danger, then I am required to report that, so you can read through that. And if you have concern for somebody on campus, please, or about yourself, go to care and support frontrange.edu and let somebody know, because the college is there to support you as I am. So this is all about the class, prerequisite, not really any much prerequisites for this class. This is a guaranteed transfer course. So there are certain, the colleges in Colorado should take this as a direct transfer for human growth and development directly into their human growth, not just as like an elective. So we are in a system for transfer, for guaranteed transfer for this course. There is a required text, and you will notice that it's the 9th edition. There are some 8th editions out there floating around. You can use it. It's up to you. I can't guarantee you that you're not going to be like confused by page numbers, or there might be some information missing and so forth. The place where your text, of course, you need to be reading your text with whatever chapter we're working on, There's always the requirement to be reading the text portion of that for your own benefit and for your own support of that information. And you will need them for your quizzes, which are online and open book. Course policies, non-attendance drop date is February 19th, so you need to make sure that you get your first discussion post in on time before that, or else I have to drop. It's also the drop date with a refund. This is a late start class, so these kind of things kind of run together. So if you want to drop the class and get a refund, then it needs to be done before the 19th, by the 19th. April 19th, last day to withdraw with no refund. Now here's where things get really tricky, so I hope you're listening to this. You are allowed to choose which spring break you want, which means which week are you going to take off, and not be required to kind of be doing things. And you will notice there may be, like on the last Sunday of spring break, I do believe of one of them there is stuff due. So you need to be really aware of when things are due. But you can choose your spring break week. And it has lined up March 12th through 18th for Larimer students, because that's when Larimer County is taking their spring break for their schools, or BCC Westminster spring break is March 27th to April 2nd. I will be taking the March 27th to April 2nd spring break, which means I will probably be grading, but I'm not required to be doing that. So just so you know that that'll be my spring break. But you can take which spring break you want, and there's going to be different due dates. This becomes a little bit confusing, but it might be helpful for some of you, and we'll talk more about that as we go. So to be considered in attendance and not dropped, you must complete the first discussion post by 2/17. It won't be closed until Monday 2/20. But for this first one, you must have the first one in no later than the 19th to be considered in attendance, or I can drop you for that. So please, we're required to have an attendance assignment. And so this is it. So even though it's open, you can maybe get your reply post in late, by the 19th, by the 20th. But get your original post in, which it'll still be late on the 19th, by then. Non-attendance is reported first thing on the 20th, so it needs to be in. I say a lot here about plagiarism only because I have an issue each semester, and I honestly think sometimes it's because students don't know that they're plagiarizing. And so I like to make this really clear. Plagiarism is the copying of any written material word for word, or using material without giving credit where you find it. So when you are writing papers, and you have papers in my class, you must paraphrase sources. Put the information into your own words. Don't use their words. Put it in your own words as you understand it, and give them credit for the idea or the information. To copy word for word from any source is considered plagiarism and is subject to failure and disciplinary action. If you write something word for word in a paper, it absolutely has to be in quotation marks and cited. But you want to do that very little, so don't put a whole paper in quotation marks. Better to just take in the information, and I would rather hear you explain it in your words anyway, because that's how I know that you understand it. So to copy anything, and all papers will be going through an originality check on Dropbox, so it becomes sort of obvious. Just don't do anything word for word. Put it in your own words. If you are going to use a little quote or something, put quotation marks around it and cite it to tell where you get it from. I have a little thing here on life. I know that life gets in the way of things. We get very busy. And this is a 12-week class getting more than 15 weeks of information into it. So it's going to be a very dense and very intense course. And I know that life can get in the way and throw us curveballs. Everything, of course, is done online. I do give a week for late work. So if you're having some type of emergency, please get in touch with me. Please read this. Email attachments and Dropbox assignments must be in Word or PDF format. I cannot open pages. So if yours is like a dot pages, Dropbox will not be able to open it. So please don't put it in there. Otherwise, I just have to email you and tell you you're going to have to transfer it into some other form, PDF or Word. So please do that. This class requires a 12th grade English reading and writing level. I give 5 points for using the Writing Center, so I suggest you do that. Please read through this. on your own. I don't want to read this to you word for word. This is Netiquette, rules and engagement for all of our discussions or anything like that. I think all of it should be common sense. It's very important to me. I don't mind debate. I think that's healthy. I think it's good that we have, and this is psychology, and we're going to have different ideas about things, and I want that to be the case. But we must approach one another as human beings. And so to remember that there's a human on the other side of that computer, listening and responding. And so the golden rule applies, that we speak to one another the way we want to be spoken to. But, quite honestly, some of us are a little able to take things better than others. So we want to be able, people hear us more when we use, when we are respectful in what we say. And honestly, that's, we don't have any kind of way to judge tone when we're reading, unless we use a bunch of emoticons. Don't use them, overuse them. So, read this, please. Because if there's any trouble with this, then, I'll be contacting you and we'll have to have those discussions. I don't expect it. I never have had it. But I know it could happen. And this is all about your original post and your reply posts and things I think, good ways to go about doing them. And things that I take seriously. So please read through this. Please read through this. Please read through this. This is important too. This is a 12-week course. And as I said, if we were in a typical classroom, you would be meeting close to probably 4 hours a week for a late start course. Now that would only be to share content and do exercises and not necessarily include the reading and the homework and the paper writing outside of class. So this is going to be an intense course. We have to get 25 chapters in 12 weeks. So you will be responsible for 2 to 3 chapters a week, on top of, quizzes and discussion, so the discussion posts and papers and other things you have to do. And I say that not to scare you, because I want it to be a really cool course for you, but I do need you to be very aware that it's going to require time. And you may feel like, oh my God, there's so much and not enough time. And unfortunately, that's the way human growth is. Even in class, it's really hard to cover all of it. And so you have it all there, but it's going to require your commitment to it. There's going to be, so I've even broken it down. You're going to have to listen to screencasts. You don't have to, actually. They're optional. But keep in mind, I add a lot of off-text info to update and deepen the information. Not watching means you will miss that, which will impact your papers. Not that anything that's not in the text I would mark you off for, but it might help you in your understanding. So I do suggest you listen to the screencasts. You need to read the text. You have to write an original post and 2 reply posts and quizzes, letters, papers, and other assignments. So it's intense, and just be aware of that starting out. So breakdown of your assignments. There's an introduction discussion. That's just simply reflection on your part. There's no right or wrong question, but you will know that I'll ask for full sentences. And the only way you're going to get marked off is if you just don't write in full sentences, or you just kind of blow it off. I do want some thoughtfulness put into it. Syllabus quiz, because I do want you to read the syllabus. Oh, I'm sorry. The introduction discussion is a whole different thing. That's actually, you'll see it. It's your first discussion post where we kind of get to know each other a little bit. And it's kind of a fun way of doing it. I do a screencast on that so you can get a feel for what that is. Your reflection questions are the ones that have to be written in complete sentences. There's 6 online quizzes. I drop one of them. You'll notice that the first one will get dropped because it'll drop until it comes up with a lowest at the end of the whole semester. You have to write 2 reflection letters to self. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about all the rest of these as we go a little bit here. I do give extra credit. If you're on campus at all on Wednesdays, or you want to come to campus in Westminster on Wednesdays, you can come to Active Minds meetings. It's a 5 points per meeting for up to 3 meetings. Writing Center, you can do an extra letter, which you'll understand when we get there, or you can read one of these books and follow these instructions. This is not a book report, so you have to speak to it on a personal level and get extra credit there. Expectations for grading. So you'll have to do what we call a Making Connections worksheet. And it is going to be due on April 9th. It's going to be based on the 0 to 2 time frame, but you get a lot of time to kind of do it. Must be typed out neatly, complete sentences, questions will be included. So you'll be watching movie clips is what's going to happen. And then I have 7 to 8 questions that you will have to respond to based on those movie clips. And I want the answers included. So it's not actually a paper, it's a worksheet. You can just have you don't even have to have the full question, but something that shows me what that one's about. And then your answer for each one. And it's going to be based on different concepts, attachment theory, theory stages, working models, things like this. And you'll have to watch the movie clips, and then you're going to connect the main character in the movie, which is Good Will Hunting, to the questions that I ask. And you'll get more information about that when you get to it. You'll be graded on the connections that you make between the clips and the questions and the text, and the concepts that are specifically mentioned in the text. And this is how I grade it: thought, organization, and writing. You can read through that. You have to write 2 lifespan reflection letters to self, and these are huge for me. One has to be on either early childhood or middle childhood unit, and one has to be on either adolescent or emerging adult unit. You're going to take the information, any of the concepts in those units, and apply them, look at them through your own development. And you're going to find at least 5 clear, overt connections between your development and the concepts. So, for example, which one is it? In early childhood, we talk about parenting. So that's actually going to be a discussion question. But you could talk about using the specific text language and explaining to me the concept, or to your younger self the concept. Okay, all right. You have to write a letter to yourself at that age. So you're going to be talking to, say, your early childhood self, dear little Tracy, and explaining these concepts to your younger self to help that younger self understand what you were going through. So if you did parenting, you have to talk about the different styles of parenting that are very specific to the text, the different modes of parenting, dimensions of parenting that are very specific to the text. Mention that information. You have to highlight, where is it? So at least 5 clear overt connections. Use language from the text to show me you understand the concepts. Clearly directly link them to your experience. Actually explain the concepts to your younger self. This is how you show me you get it. You don't have a test. This is how you show me you get it. Remember, these are letters, not scientific papers, though, and you do not have to cite these. I grade solely on the connections, so make sure you make them. Highlight the connection main term. So if you're doing parenting styles, you're actually going to bold the words parenting style or whatever it is, so I know that you expect me to include that as one of your 5 connections. Letters are to be turned into the Dropbox. They're each worth 100 points, 20 points per connection, and that's why you want to bold the key term so that I see them and I say, okay, these are the 5. Each one is graded on 20 points. If I have to go hunt them down, then you're probably not going to do as well. So here's when the due dates for all 4, but you're only going to do 2, okay? So you just turn in the 2 that you're going to do. Here's an example that you can read through it's a Adolescent Connection. Weekly discussions for 10 weeks. I'll post a question. You have to have an original post in by Friday at 8 p.m. And then your 2 reply posts are due Sunday by 8 p.m. You are divided into groups for this. There's 2 different groups. So you will only get your group, and it just makes it a little bit smaller because you're actually, it's actually a pretty big class. So the questions will range from content, knowledge-driven inquiries to your idea, opinion, connections for yourself. So that's going to be a huge part of your grade. So make sure that you get those done. Oh, and you get an extra credit point if you post on 3 different days. So that would be like, you can do it before Friday, but you don't do all of your replies and your post all on one day. And try to, respond to different people each week, so you're not just re-responding to the same people all the time. So here are the original post and replies post due dates. Now here you go. Keep in mind due dates for BCC Westminster. So this is when Larimer is on spring break. So your discussion post BCC Westminster will be due the 3/17 with replies on 3/19. That same week's discussion will be due for Larimore 3/24 to 3/26. And then, so week 6 and 7 are different depending on which spring break you're going to take. So be very aware of that. And that might mess up the group thing a little bit. So just kind of watch for that. I'll figure it out before we get there. 25 points for original posts, 10 points each for reply posts. So here's all your weekly assignments, what week it is, and you can see when we get down to 6 and 7, it's different for BCC and for Larimer, and what you should be working on and how you should do it based on your spring break. And the topic, the reading you need to be doing, and then any to-dos you need to get done. You will also notice that there are checklists each week on D2L, so make sure you look at the checklist and you can use it to help check things off. This takes you through each week. And then there are discussion letter and quiz due dates here as well. And then you have those online too. So please read through your syllabus thoroughly. Go through D2L, start with the Getting Started module. Read through all the things for that. Notice that there are checklists for each week and use those. And then you can just, after you finish getting started, move into week 1. And any questions, any difficulties, please just contact me. I am happy to be there to support you as we go through this together. So I look forward to learning more about you and to traveling this journey. Take care.